Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I will be continuing on with the van build prep. If you saw my last video, I went and got it weighed while it's empty. Link down below to see that video. If you don't know, this is a 170 extended 4x4 2500 cargo van with the windows all the way around. Today I'm going to scan the inside of the van with a iPad Pro. You can do this with any of the pro level Apple products that have the little Lidar sensor for it, and you can scan relatively well anything you want. There's an app called 3D Scanner app. That's what I'll be using, and I'll try and get a pretty accurate scan of this van to create a 3D model of it inside that I can then use for building up the van, the inside of the van in CAD. So basically kind of get the idea of what structure I'm going to put where, what size I need to cut everything, and see the general layout before we build. So let's get to that. I'm going to use, like I said, there's an app called 3D Scanner app that you use. It can scan, it uses the LiDAR, it uses the camera to scan everything and make a model. Generally, reflective surfaces like this are pretty hard to do, so hopefully I can get something fairly accurate. The windows do not get seen by the LiDAR, it just goes straight through them. So that's why I have all this blue tape here. I'm going to put the tape, basically make asterisks to basically create X's across the windows to kind of give a representation for where the windows would be. So without further ado, I'm going to get the windows taped up and get back to you with how to use the app. Alright, now that everything is taped up, I'm going to turn the seats around. These are the factory swivel seats, and what you need to do is get the seats all the way forward, and then you can unlatch the hook for swiveling them, and then you can turn them and then put them back into position. So let's get that done. Swivel seats are always a little bit awkward, and you have to make sure you don't hit anything on the B-pillar, the door frame, on the driver's side. Careful with the steering wheel, because you can easily damage these parts. Alright, so now that this is ready, we can open up the 3D Scanner app. I've already done some trials. Hopefully I'll get a new one, a good one this time. So what I want to do is click high res. There's different settings for the depth, which will show how much it will scan from 0.3 meters up to 5 meters, which you can see scans the whole thing. There's different resolutions for, I guess, each voxel. I've done super fine, and it just sort of creates a lot of extra noise. I'm going to do something sort of medium high, or I guess medium low resolution with a high confidence. And I'm not going to do any masking. So with that said, let's see how a max depth scan looks like. So you hit go, and this is what it looks like. Be careful as you move. Different angles so you can see all the ridges moving slowly, the fenders. See, it did not get that front window there. Get those shelves up there. Inside the door step. The ceiling. Hopefully nothing got shifted. I think this is pretty close to being done. You want to make sure you get every nook and cranny, every part of the roof. I've done this a couple times, and you get a hole somewhere you thought you got. So just trying to be extra careful to go over everything and moving slowly at the same time. Door looks a little crooked there, so we'll see how that goes. Okay, so click end, saving. It saves it. You can see basically what you end up with. Not too bad. Looks like there's some issues up here. Let me try and do a quick process it. Again. Alright, so after a few more tries, I got a pretty decent scan. I'm missing a little bit of the seat here, but I'm not worried about that. The main thing is, the structure around the van. This isn't perfect, but I think it's close enough for what we need. There's some artifacts you can probably clean up on the computer. This is already processed after the scan was done. Basically what I just did was I stood here, scanned from side to side, down, side to side, down, side to side, and then sort of angled in and out, and then I just went from here to here to here to here, repeating that all the way around. I started out doing the whole floor, and then I ended up doing the whole roof. So that's how I ended up getting this one. You can see, even with the tape, there are some holes here in the windows, but one cool thing about this app is that you can sort of do different views. So this is the basic, just white view, just the raw data. There's this view, which shows, I guess basically the angle and everything of the data, of all the modeling and whatnot. So you can see the roof there. The main structure is there. Now when we go to, so when I click to this view here, where you get the actual images, you can kind of see a little bit more of what the scan looked like to the camera as well as the Lidar. And for the most part, it's pretty good, pretty straight. There are some wobbliness in it, but I think that's to some extent unavoidable, especially with reflective surfaces. You can see these two bits here did not get a very good cutout. That should be further there. But, you know, if that's the main thing, that's not too bad. The main problem, that's not too bad. I think this is generally a pretty good view. See all the vertexes. To me, this is sort of the most important view for making sure the data is good. Like I said, that one spot isn't very good, but I'm not worried about that. So if you want to, for example, measure between the wheel wells, what you can do is click measure, hit tape measure, and then just click somewhere on the wheel well. You can see it basically lines up there, and then click on the other side, about 1.3 meters across. You can see it's not perfectly straight, so you kind of have to, I guess, click as accurate as you can in the same spot on each side. Alright, so then the next step to get it onto your computer, I always do share, and then I do the OBJ file. It's a larger file size, but like it says, it's well supported, and you can load that into Fusion 360. And then do mail, and then you can, you know, email it to yourself. So I'll do that and get it on the computer. All right, so I got the scan in, as you can see on the computer, and taking a closer look at it, there was actually a little bit more problems than I had originally seen, especially around that door where I sort of said, oh, well, that pocket's not too bad. What I didn't realize is that that whole corner had gotten shifted in by a few inches, and so I have a few options of how I can kind of work with that. One being I can try and, you know, separating it out and moving parts of the scan, but I feel like that might be a little bit more problematic. But what I do have as well is this other scan. The doors came out much better. There's a lot of things that I think are maybe a little bit more accurate in this scan, but it does have all these big holes in it where I miss scanning. Sometimes you lose track of where you've been while scanning these things. And so, for example, you can see this big hole in the roof here. There's some holes on the windows and the C-pillar here. But I think we can probably just fill that in with software. And I know that this isn't a perfect scan. It's more of just a reference, you know, just to kind of help give a rough idea of where things are to help lay everything out. So I think I'll probably try and rescue this as much as I can, and let's see how that goes. Alright, so here we are with it loaded up in CAD. As you can see in the windows, you can see where the tape was, the shape of the stars. Then there's all this area around here that we want to clean up, and then we will close the mesh to have a solid body around here, especially, you know, where these holes are, where there actually should be, you know, something there. Up here in the front, we really just want to clean this up. Not too worried about having to do anything in the front area, as this basically just for a reference as I design the van. And then after that, I'm going to simplify the mesh just to make this not quite so fine, lower the polygon count, make it go a little bit faster and smoother, and then also just reorient the body. As you can see, it's at a weird angle here. If you look over at the axes over here, the bottom, this is looking at the bottom when we should be looking at the floor like this. So, you know, just need to reorient that just to help model things up later. So let's start cleaning this up. Now the first thing you do is go to separate, and select faces. Make sure select faces is selected, and then you basically just highlight the pink side. If you try to select the yellow side, it doesn't always get it, but if you do the pink side, it pretty much fills in where you actually want it to select. So as much as you can. Sometimes you do have to get it from different angles. You'll probably go through a few rounds of doing this. Select OK, and then you are left with a couple different mesh bodies over here. And generally the lower number is the one that you actually selected to delete. So you select that, you can see what's highlighted, and you hit delete. You can see there's still some more to be done. You'll have to do this a few times to get everything done. Alright, so now that that is looking a lot cleaner, I can go ahead and close up. So to close all these holes, what you do is you click repair, and there's different types you can get. You want to do close holes, select the body, and click OK. And then this will run for a few minutes. Alright, once that's done, you can see what's left over. Basically, there's some area up here I still want to clean up that you really get kind of as a result of how it filled in the gaps. So you can do this afterwards, after cleaning up before. So I'll quickly do that. Basically just repeating the same process as before, selecting the different areas, clicking OK, and then deleting the body that it created. And then after that there's some holes to clean up, so I just did another quick close body on that. As you can see, it filled in those holes. So you can see how it filled in the holes before. Basically just creates flat triangles where it connects to different areas. The next thing I want to do is simplify the mesh. So you go up and you hit reduce, and it will basically take all these fine small triangles and make them fewer but bigger, smooth everything out. It really isn't needed to be this fine. So basically just select the body and click OK. It'll then do its processing. This is sped up, and then you can see at the end how much simpler this mesh is. The triangles are bigger and there's a lot fewer of them. This will just help when modeling everything up, make sure it doesn't get too overwhelming on the computer. So the next thing to do, which will also help a lot when modeling up, is to reorient it. You can see I have the bottom view selected here in the upper right corner, and you're looking at a corner view of the van. So that's definitely not right, so we need to reorient this. To do that is pretty simple. You just right click on the body and go move/copy, and we just want to rotate along some of the axes. So starting out really quickly, looking at one top view, you can simply rotate this to be straight up and down. And basically just kind of grab the handle and get it pretty close, and then you can type in the exact degree you want to get it to be. That looks pretty good, so we will just do this one at a time and click OK. Alright, now that's done, just repeat the process. Right click move/copy, and then change the view to another angle, and then we can fix it from that point. So from this one you can see the wording on the upper right corner is vertical when it should be horizontal, so let's just rotate that 90 degrees. And then if we were to reorient that properly, that looks like how it should be, nice and level. Now that that's done, the next step is to break apart the body into each side. So basically that will allow me to look into the van from each angle. So to do that is pretty simple. Just click plane cut, and then select the body. Under type, have split body selected, and then you just sort of choose which plane you want to cut first, and then basically just drag it to where you want it to be. I'm going to cut off the back doors here. That looks pretty good, so click OK, and it'll create 2 bodies under the tree, and then you can rename them just to kind of keep them organized. So back, and then you can hide that and look inside. There you can see inside the van. And then basically at this point I'm just going to go and do this for the floor, roof, each walls, the front, and everything else, and separate it all out to be easier to see. So cut off the floor, then the roof, the driver's side, and then the passenger side, the front, and then there's some miscellaneous left over, and there you go. And then you can hide each part that you want to, and you can see in different views from the van, and that'll really help when modeling things up. You can hide everything, you can show everything, and just build from there. So I hope you enjoyed watching this. It's a little bit different, shows you how you can do this for yourself pretty simply. Quickly and easily scan the van. All you need is a pro level Apple product, and you can do this. So if you did enjoy watching this video, let me know, hit that like button. If you want to see me model this up, the rest of the build, let me know in the comments below. Also make sure, if you do want to watch along on the build process, we will be putting in sound installation next, so make sure you're subscribed so you know when that video comes out. Until then, I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.